Hi, once again, and welcome to another episode of UNWALLED. And today we're going to be discussing about a very dicey and a very tricky topic, which is premarital affections. My name is Emmanuel Njeraba, and here with me is
Maryam, Bature.
All right, welcome, Maryam, on today's episode of UNWALLED. And today we're talking about premarital affection. So let's kick off this way. What can you say to your own understanding? What is premarital affections, if that is a thing?
I guess premarital affections, from the name premarital, we're talking about before marriage.
Okay.
And affection meaning the way you express your emotions, your love, your care, whatever it may be, and work. Basically focusing on those emotions before marriage.
Okay, cool. So that leads me to my next question, which is asking, how far is too far when it comes to premarital affections? How far is too far with your friends? Yeah, basically with your friend. Like, how far? Is there any limit? How far is actually too far?
Yeah. I guess I would say no, because when you're thinking of friendships, you're thinking of people you love and care about, and you just want to show them love the way you know how to love them best. So you're going all out for them and all of that. And if you're being genuine to your friend, like coming from a good place, then I don't think there is a too far. Like, can you really love someone too much or care for them too much? I don't think so.
Okay, I don't think so. Well, so let me try and, let's say, bring it into perspective. Now we're talking of friendship between a guy and a lady, just friends, nothing going on. No, they're not dating.
Yeah.
They are not into any relationship. You know, it's tricky because we humans are relational beings, right? So it's just the way God made us to be, that with time, someone that you talk to, someone that you interact with, there are always, I would say, feelings attached, or I would say attachments to such. And as the saying goes, whatever you grow feeds. You know, whatever you feed grows. Yeah, sorry, whatever you feed grows. So in that perspective, where do you think you should draw the line when it comes to that?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because a lot of times your niceness, your love can be misunderstood.
Okay.
You might not have hurt feelings. You might just be being a genuine friend, and maybe you're a giver, maybe you're one that likes to be there for that person a lot, and the person can just interpret it as, this person likes me, and then they in turn start catching feelings. So in that sense, it's a bit tricky, because you want to stay true to who you are. You want to love them like without holding back.
Yeah.
But then there might be a need to draw the line, maybe by defining the friendship, because both of you need to know what you're up to.
Yeah.
If it's a platonic friendship, then you should know it's a platonic friendship. Not saying that defining it would necessarily mean you'll never catch feelings, because fondness grows and all of that. But then you have to build a friendship where you can be open and honest with that person. So whenever those feelings start, you should be able to say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, like, where are we? What are we doing? And in the case where it's one-sided, you shouldn't force it.
Okay.
And sometimes the person isn't so able to come to you, and maybe you're perceiving this person is acting like they like me. They're still your friends, so it's not always easy, but it's important to ask the person, like, where's your head at? Are we still just on the same page? Are we still just friends? And when you're able to have those conversations, I think that way you can draw the line. Say, maybe because I'm showing you love in this way, it's why you're catching feelings, and since we're not exploring that, I should stop that. Or whatever you're doing is making me uncomfortable. So those are things that happen when you are open about it.
Cool. I think I like this line you're towing. It's very important to have boundaries, right? Because human relationships are very dynamic. And the more you keep talking to a person, the more you get to have a form of fondness for that person, right? So especially in the church, where we ought to glorify God in all that we do, including our friendship with people of the opposite sex. So you need to set boundaries. You need to be open, not open, but be genuine with that person, and at the same time try as much as not to give off something, if I might use the word vibe, not to give up a vibe that is not there, or better still, we can say not to lead the person on.
Yeah.
You get, so because we get that a lot, and it all boils down to setting boundaries. If you don't set boundaries, if you don't cut off what you need to cut off from developing into what it is, it might end up going in a way that you wouldn't like the outcome of it. So yeah. So if I might ask you this, is there a limit to what you can do for your friends?
I guess I would say yes now. Especially since you mentioned, biblically speaking, you should love the way Christ loved the church.
Yeah.
Like, you should love the way God teaches us to love. So is there too much you can give? You should always think of how would Christ love, because the world has tainted that word love,
Yeah,
so
true.
that the expression of love can go beyond what the Bible teaches us love is.
Yeah, true.
So when you're going beyond the biblical definition of love, then I think you can be doing too much.
Okay. If you go beyond, you can be doing too much. All right. Okay. I think I like that.
But in the context of like setting boundaries and knowing what's too much, how do you know your limits? What would you say is a practical limit that people ought to have?
Interesting. So, how do you know your limits in the biblical sense of it, or as Christians, or as young Christians in the church? First of all is knowing what type of friendship it is. If you are interested in a person for a relationship from the beginning, you should define it. If it's just for being friends, fine, you define it. And now if you notice that, okay, things are beginning to go, would I say south, not the way it should be as just friends, you need to talk. You need to call out the person, hey, this is what it is, and I don't like the way these things are going. And it's very important that we try as much as possible not to give off what is not there, as we say, misleading people. You get, not to mislead the other person, and then at the same time desist from calling pet names. You get, like you see someone that, okay, we're just friends, and then all of a sudden pet name starts coming in. Hey, dear. I don't say calling a friend dear is bad, but someone that you haven't defined, like you haven't known the person over time, and then you see pet names flying about, you call the person, hey, what's up? This what's going on? What is happening?
Yes.
And you need to speak. If you can't define what is happening and the way it is going seems like, if I go this route, I might end up falling. As the Bible says, you can what's the word? Resist every appearance of evil. So you can pull back for the time being, for your own safety. Because the Bible says, him who thinks he stands should be careful lest he fall. So none of us is beyond falling. So, but once we see anything that might lead us to get into the place where we fall, we should flee from that. So it's very important that we set boundaries, especially when it comes to having relationships with people, especially of the opposite sex in church. So yeah, I think that's what I can say. It's important we set limits. Let's now flip it to, let me ask this question before I move on. Is there a thing as being too nice?
Being too nice.
Yes.
When you think of nice, you think all things positive.
Yeah.
So can you be too positive? I don't think you can be too nice, but I think there can be negative effects of being nice.
Okay, such as?
So, for instance, say I'm just there's a story I heard about this guy he's super nice. He doesn't like to see people in trouble and leave them in trouble.
Yeah.
So he would always take care of them the way if there's like you're stranded on the road, he's always willing to take you home and all of that. So in such a situation, that was taking as he's trying to take advantage of me, because why is he taking me to my house?
Yeah.
Why does he want to know where I live? All these kind of things. But because the world has this, like, there are good people and there are bad people. So there are some people who are doing those to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
So because of that, like, even when you're being genuine, you're being really nice and all of that, people can misinterpret it as you're doing this for something in return. So I wouldn't say there's a problem with being genuinely nice, but you have to be careful because of the way things are in the world, because it can very easily be misinterpreted.
Oh, I think I like that. So going to the question I was heading towards now, looking at premarital affections in the context of people who are dating,
Yeah.
who intend to get married, right? So should there be boundaries?
Yes.
Okay.
When you think about dating relationships, when you are considering the affection shown in that, it's definitely heightened than what friendship should be. Calling pet names, as you mentioned. Sometimes it goes to like physical touch, and it just keeps progressing from there all the way to sex. So we need to be careful of immorality.
Yeah, sure.
And so you need to know where that can be too much, because obviously immorality is bad.
Yeah, it is.
So I think it can be too much. What do you think about that?
Okay, so importantly, in a dating relationship, right, for people who are planning towards getting married, so first of all, we need to be conscious of the fact that you need to, what's the word? You need to have affection for the person you want to marry. Yeah, in as much as we know marriage is spiritual, it's also physical. So I wouldn't want to marry a person that I'm not physically attracted to. I wouldn't advise that at all, because you're just setting yourself up for failure. Because at the end of the day, if you end up marrying someone who you are not physically attracted to, and then you end up seeing someone who you are physically attracted to, you would definitely want to drift towards that person, right? So on that premise, with that being said, since affections are involved, because you like this person, you're attracted to the person, you should set boundaries. Now, as a cousin of mine would say, it's a proverb which he says in Pidgin, now from clap, dance, they start. That's it's from the little things that the big things grow. So in the context of a dating relationship, there should be boundaries, in the sense that if you guys are meeting, it should be in an open space, or I would say neutral ground, not behind closed doors. Because definitely, if you guys are behind closed doors, you guys like yourself, obviously. And then, as you said, it's from little things that they progress, from little touches, before you know, you want to kiss, and then you have sex, of which the Bible has warned us against that. You shouldn't do that. So there should be boundaries, such as if you're meeting, it should be in an open space, or at the same time, if you guys are, your relationship should be, you should have like mentors that you guys will be accountable to, who you talk to, who they counsel you, who you are free to talk about whatever it is, everything. And then thirdly, as much as possible, do not set yourself up for any situation that might lead to what's the word? To you guys falling into temptation, right? So yeah, there has to be boundaries. You guys have, as the Bible says, we should flee from every appearance of evil. So as much as we can, we should be able to set boundaries that would help us to grow a relationship healthily in a way that it would glorify God. Yeah, basically. So yeah, just another train of thought, talking about your relationship now with dealing with people, with the fact that you are now in a dating relationship, right?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with people of the opposite sex? Like how?
So people that are outside your partner.
Yeah, people that are outside your partner. How should you handle that?
So I think the first thing I would say is you need to consider your partner. You need to consider being respectful to that person, and also consider their levels of comfort. So say you've had really close friends of the opposite sex, and it makes your partner uncomfortable.
Yep.
Probably because you're doing certain things that you might have not noticed, but your partner notices.
Yeah.
Those are easy indicators that you're probably doing too much, because you need to, this is your partner, you guys need to agree, be comfortable with each other. So once you've reached a level where your partner is uncomfortable, they're angry or any of such, you need to consider their feelings, and you need to act in respect to that relationship you guys are building. So whatever is going to come off as being disrespectful, whether you think it is or not, it's not about just you once you enter a relationship. So you need to be that considerate, and then obviously refrain from certain things, even if your partner doesn't bring it up. Like, you don't need to be at your male friend's house at midnight when it's just two of you. Like, certain things like that. They're basic things you should just avoid now that you're starting something like serious and all of that.
Okay. Oh, just to lay more emphasis, right? It's important that we are in church, we are Christians, right? And we get involved in a certain area of ministry or the other. And let's say, for example, you are someone who helps, right? Who helps, and then anytime there is any need, they call on you. You need to set boundaries in the scenario that if you're someone that, let's say there's any need in the fellowship, maybe in the welfare or whatever department you are the first person they call, right? And most times the call would involve you to be there with the person physically, right? Now that you are in a relationship with someone, I would advise that sometimes you might need to, would I say, delegate, like not going there yourself. You can, let's say, if the need comes, you can actually maybe direct it to someone else, right? Because it's very important that you try as much as possible not to set up yourself for failure, or not to set up yourself to fall. So in all of this, it's quite important that you define boundaries now with people outside of your relationship. You get, if your partner is not, I wouldn't want to use the word, if your partner's level of maturity is not maybe to your own level, you might have to cut it down so that you guys will grow together and then get to a point of understanding. But at the same time, be careful, because we are flesh, we're humans. And then who you give your time and your attention to, you know, it's highly possible that you will turn towards that person, even when you are in a relationship with your partner. Yeah.
And I'd like to add, like, when you're having relationships, I think it's very important to make sure it's a Christ-centered relationship.
Yes, it's very important.
It's easy to think it's just you and this person, but the Bible tells us a cord of 3 strands is harder to break. So you always need to put God in it, and God will guide you, because there's not like one way that all relationships will work.
Yeah, true.
But once you have God, like, with you guys, He's able to lead you for what's true for your situation and help you overcome whatever.
True. Thanks for adding that, because we are Christians, first of all, right? So everything we do has God has to be at the center of everything that we do. So it's very, 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 very important that you carry God. Not carry God. Let God be ahead while you follow.
Let him be in the front and center.
Yes, let him be in the front, and then you follow, because he knows the way. He would guide you. If it's something that might lead you to derail, he would caution you, and you would heed to his directives and stay away from that. So It has been a nice discussion.
I have one more question.
Okay.
I know you kind of threw it in there, but I feel like it's a question that we need to address, like,
Okay.
because there's people that would say there is no biblical backing, while others would say there is.
Okay.
But my question is,
All right.
is premarital sex a sin?
Is it a sin? Yes, it's a sin. Right? So God speaking in the book of Galatians chapter 5, starting from verse 16 down to verse, I would say 21 thereabout, where he was talking about the works of the flesh, and then in verse 16 he might mention of the work, he now mentioned walk in the spirit so that he wouldn't gratify the desires of the flesh.
Yeah.
Yes, every day our flesh is always at constant war with the Spirit of God. And if we go by our cravings of the flesh, we would not do what God wants us to do. So, and the Bible made us to understand that we should flee from every appearance of sin. We should flee every appearance of sin. And what is sin? Doing things that God don't want you to do. And the Lord instructed us in the Bible to stay away from, what do you call it, sexual immorality, right? It was mentioned in Galatians 5:6 too, down where it was mentioning idolatry, things that the works of the flesh produces in us, works of the flesh, like evidence, the works of the flesh, idolatry, adultery, sexual immorality, mentioned down, went down. And then after mentioning them, now went to mention, okay, the fruit of the Spirit, things that a child of God is meant to exhibit, is meant to produce as a result of the Spirit of God being inside of him or her. So yes, premarital sex is bad. Why? Because first of all, it's meant to be enjoyed only in the confines of marriage. It's a good thing, but only enjoyed in the confines of marriage. God permits it once you get married, but not outside the confines of marriage. 2, God talked about, Solomon, talking about in, is that Ecclesiastes? Yes, or Sons of Solomon, talking about you shouldn't awaken the desires that you don't want to. Do you get? And the truth is, once you start indulging yourself in sexual immorality, it's harder to stop.
Yeah.
So, first of all, is a sin. Secondly, God is saving us from even indulging in things in it, because it will destroy us at the long run. So, more than it being I wouldn't say more than, but it's not meant to be, because it's an instruction from God. But secondly, it's for our own benefit, to keep us safe and to keep us preserved for the person that God ordained for us. So in marriage, yes, you can enjoy that. So premarital sex is absolutely a no-no. It's absolutely a no-no. There's no way around it. There's no how much you can try to sugarcoat it. There's no whatsoever English you can speak and make it look appealing. Though in the world where we find ourselves, it's made appealing. Sometimes you get to be mocked at your friends whenever they find out, you're actually a virgin, you have not had sex. They look at you as if you are abnormal.
Yeah.
Do you get? But actually they are the ones that are abnormal, not you. But you find out a lot of us trying to compromise because of the pressure that we receive on all ends. So premarital sex is a sin and an absolutely no-go area. Only when you're married.
Yes,
fine.
Yes. So with all you've just said, I think the question of how far is too far shouldn't even be a question. We shouldn't be thinking, where should I go, like in dating that is too far.
Yeah.
What we should be thinking is, how do I feed my spirit and how do I feed my soul? So we shouldn't even have to reach easy a sin. Like if there's something to even debate about, just don't do it.
Don't do it.
And focus on what feeds your spirit and what builds your relationship the way God wants you to.
Yeah. So I love how you flipped it. And I think I would use that even as we close. So it's very important that we know that premarital sex is a sin. And since that has been established, that should be able to guide us on the boundaries we need to set, even in our relationships with both friends and also with people whom we are dating that would eventually want to get married to. So on that note, I would like to say thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching, and also thank you for spending these few minutes with us, even as we discuss on premarital affection. So I would encourage you guys to like. I would encourage you guys to comment. Drop your comments in the comment section. It's very important. Whatever questions you have, you can drop them. Whatsoever insight you might want to throw upon things that we've discussed, you can do that, because at the end of the day, we are meant to grow together as children of God and as Christians. And we are meant to share our experiences, how God is helping us, and also how God has helped us to grow. So till we come again your way next time, goodbye and have a wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead. So God bless you all. Bye.
Bye.
I climb to the highest mountain.